Hi everyone, welcome to my Shoreline Studio. I'm Sybille Muschik. Today we're going to be working with Posca Pens. Now they're wonderful tools. They are acrylic paint in liquid form, and you can do amazing things with them and not just drawing with them. They're wonderfully versatile, and you can put them on anything that any acrylic paint will be used for. For example, canvas, even stone or wood, a board, anything, or even glass. So they have different points. They have sort of a blunt end like that, and you can get them in finer. There are also sort of chisel-edged for calligraphy. There are fine tips, so there's quite a range of them. I have mostly the blunt-ended ones and a few thinner ones, and that seems to work for me really well. So there's a lot of colors as well, so you can get a full range. You can get them in kits. I suggest you visit their website and find out more about them. We'll be working with them today, and hopefully we're going to be doing some gel plate printing with them and in a painterly manner. So I'm going to show you something we'll be working on today. And these are bulrushes on the lake that I live on. And this is the color version of them. And this is the right view. I had it upside down a minute ago. So at least this is the right view. Now, to do printmaking, of course, you have to have it in reverse. And if I'm working, say, in a painterly fashion, I don't want to be confused by the colors in the photograph. So I usually go to the black and white version, and this is the reversed because, of course, with printmaking, everything is in reverse. So that's how we're going to be working. Now this is using the gel plate, but using the Posca Pens as a drawing medium. So this is more of a drawing than a painting. So I'm drawing directly on the plate and just, being as crazy as I can be using the pens and having a lot of fun with it. And that's what I'm hoping for today, is that this is going to be a lot of fun. So come and join me, and we'll investigate how Posca Pens work in a painterly fashion. So first off, we're going to run on a few experiments with the Posca Pens. I've laid out 4 colors, some warms and some cools. And to begin with, we're going to just put some color on, just plain color. You need to shake it a little bit to get the ink running. And put your lids on. And some white. We'll see if we can make a nice variegated kind of run here. And we're going to use a brush. Dip your brush in water and then damp it off really well. You don't want it wet, but you want it moist. So we're just going to run it together a little bit, just to show this variation in tone. And then we'll print it. So this is the color directly on the gel plate. So it looks a little bit watercolory. It's quite nice. If we had a little bit more water, it would be even more watercolory, but that's it the way as an intensity. Okay, so we're just going to clean that off. Next up, we'll do the red and the orange. We'll just do that on the opposite side of the paper. You can see how intense the colors are. They are really quite lovely. And we're just going to see if it'll make a nice gradated tone. So that's it on that end. And that's, it prints brilliantly, as you can see. So that's it as it is. Okay, so if we don't want it quite so intense and you want the gradated tone maybe a little more diffuse, then, and also if you want the paint to last a bit longer, if you're working on the gel plate for a while, you can try the open thinner. So this is Golden Open Thinner. So I'm just going to put a little bit on the gel plate. I'll use a brayer to roll it out. And we'll start with the blue again. And it really doesn't change it all that much, as you can see. It just intensity doesn't go down. It just maybe goes off a little. And here's the blue. I haven't got a lot of medium on there. You could add more. But we'll just have a look at see the difference in how the paint works using a bit of medium. Again, let's make sure our blush is clean and fairly dry. So we're just going to, for painterly effect here, and going from a cool to a more warmer color. That was sort of a phthalo blue, and then this is more of an ultramarine blue with the white. So let's print that. That's the next piece. The color intensity is pretty well the same, and I think the paint comes off the gel plate a little bit better. Okay, so this is experiment number 2 with the open thinner, with the orange and the red and white. So it's a little bit more diffuse for the reds. Maybe didn't add quite enough paint, but I thought I added about the same. So we just see the difference, and that helps to see even the color differences. So our final one is going to be the open medium. Now I'm just learning about the open medium, but I really like it. Oops, there we go. Okay, so I'm just putting the open medium down, thin layer, doesn't have to be a lot. And again, we'll run the white. And just see how, if you need more paint, just shake it and it'll come out. And you can see the intensity of this turquoise color. It's also opaque, so it must have some titanium white in it. And I believe this white is a little bit more transparent. So here we are with the ultramarine blue. Just want to, it's coming out really well. But this is far more transparent than the turquoise, as you can see. Now we'll run the I'm going to run the white into the, we'll just try and make a variegated tone here from cool to a warmer blue. And let's print our third attempt here. Oops, lost my brush. Anyway, oh, look at that. It really brings out the intensity of the color. This was the open thinner, and it actually took the, even here, here, and here, you can see the color is not as vivid, but the medium really brings it out. So we're going to be working with the medium more, I think. So this is a good experiment to run. Okay, we're just going to wipe this off again. And look at how easily the paint comes off if you put the medium on first. So I'm just going to spray it, make sure there's no residual color. So this is with the gel medium, Golden Open slow drying acrylic medium, and it's gloss. Ooh, nice intensity. But that could be just because it's slower to dry. And this is pretty well dried now, so. Okay, we'll leave that to dry, and for now, we'll come back to it. So the next quick thing we're going to do here is, I'm just going to put a black line down. Okay, we're just going to work on the paper. I'm going to do a line with a felt tip pen. It just didn't work with the gel plate. The Posca pen was picking up the black Posca ink, so it's dry. There we go. See, so the white is fairly opaque. You can't see the black through there. And that's as it should be. Okay, we're going to run the orange to see how transparent it is. So it's not very transparent, but it's not totally opaque either. We'll try the red. So again, just mostly opaque. You can see just a hint of the black underneath. And it didn't pick up any on the pen, so we know it's not because that's bled away the color of the black. And let's try the blue. Now, this should be fairly opaque. Yes. You can't see any black at all. And this one. And it's fairly opaque as well. There's maybe a hint of black coming through there. So if you use it at its full strength, it's going to be reasonably opaque. So now you know what's transparent and from these colors. So you're going to have a little bit of both, and you're going to have to play with all your colors. Do this black line idea, and then you'll see what's transparent and what's opaque. So there we go. And I just want to show you how to clean the gel plate. We have a few little marks left. This is just Johnson & Johnson baby oil. You can use mineral oil. This smells nice. And then just clean it off with a baby wipe or a paper towel. Baby wipes have a few other things in them that seems to help clean a gel plate really well. I want to have this fairly clean because we have to have an image underneath that we want to see. So So make sure your plate is in good shape. See, we're picking up a fair amount of color here. Maybe from previous printings. So as long as you have some stuff coming off on your baby wipe, then keep going with it. Then I have this graphic drawing of the image in reverse so that it comes out the right way. And it's just a quick and dirty drawing. I did it in pencil first. It wasn't dark enough, so then I outlined everything in the Posca pen. So that's just going to go onto the plate. You could work directly from the image that I showed you at the beginning if you want. Nothing wrong with that. I do that too. If you don't like to draw very much. Okay. So now because I have it in black and white, I don't have to, I'm not influenced by the colors of everything. I'll show that again. This would have been the colors. And maybe you want to use different colors. You know, it's a creative, artistic project, so you want to do your own thing. Okay, just making sure this is open. I'm going to put some medium on, the Golden Open Acrylic Medium, the gloss. And we'll just use a bigger roller here. And then we'll see if we can get some of those graded tones, especially in the water and in the sky. And that's how we'll start. Now I'm just wondering if we should have put the open thinner as well, and I might feel safe just in case. The thinner makes the medium last longer, and I've just mixed it with the other medium. So we'll see how that goes. So what do we start with? So let's do our turquoise. What do they call this anyway? Emerald green. Okay. I don't think so. Oh, very strange. Anyway. Okay, we're just going to negatively outline things. And we're going to try and do this all in one go, and I haven't even put my paper on yet. We'll do that shortly. And then a little bit of the white. We know this works from our little experiments. And now make sure if you are getting into another color, that you get your white clean again, your little brush tip. So you just wipe it off with a baby wipe. Otherwise you're going to end up, I might just use that on here since it's already blue and put that on there. That will use up the blue that we put on there. And you could leave these marker marks, not brush marks, as I showed you at the beginning of the video, as just an interesting technique. But I'm more mindful today of this because I actually want it to be more of a painting, because that's the whole point of this exercise. Again, working negatively up into the shapes and around the shapes that we can name, tree shapes, I guess, and there's a few little floaties here. They could be bits of debris, they could be water lily pads. You can just name it whatever you want. It's a little bit impressionistic, bit of Seurat and Van Gogh mixed together. You can leave some of these marks in the water because it just means that it's like flowing water, so that's quite nice. You can go either down, which is good. We're going to use a brush on it anyway. Okay, and we're going to use a brush, and let's see if we can get that variegated wash happening. That looks pretty nice. So if you're a watercolor painter, you might want to try this. It's fast, it's interesting. And then where your little water lily pads are, if you have accidentally covered them up, then you can wet your brush and lift them back out again. I think I did that to a couple here. So you can just lift that off. It's good. Okay, so I might add a little bit more water for the sky. It should print pretty good. So I've printed the first layer, and you can see it's very watercolory in the sky section and very brushy in the water. So by putting on another layer, I think we can work with that a bit more. So now we know sort of where we're at. Okay, so let's start on the bulrushes, and I'm just going to start on the with a yellow color. I just might put some more medium on. Both mediums. We had a bit of a tape problem, so we've corrected that. Now it took off most of the paint, so I'm not worried about putting this down. So yellow. Again, we're just going to put the color on. I'm not worried so much about the brush, you know, the Posca pen marks. There'll be brush marks as well in a minute. And it's your opportunity, if you don't like yellow bulrushes, you know, what's wrong with purple ones or brown ones, or a bit of both. The whole point is to have fun doing something artistic. And we can put it in here. That's the little... Those are willow trees that on the other side. They line the shore. And of course, don't forget your reflection. These are just more cattails way off in the distance. Okay, so we've picked up a little bit of color. Don't forget to clean the nibs. You can actually pull the whole thing out like this, you see, if you need to use the other side. Handy, huh? Okay, and then close it up. This is one of the finer nibs, by the way. Orange next. Good color right now. The bulrushes just had some sky, but they're going to go right over top. So, some nice marks here. And of course, if you don't want to use a brush and the bulrushes, I think that would probably be the best way to go. I just meant it more for the water. You really do want those nice marks that the Posca pens make. So spontaneous marks. All this will print, you see. And our reflections. So this is why you can see the image underneath. This is why having a drawing underneath is so helpful. If you need to, you can just copy it from your photograph, but it's really quite nice to try your hand at doing a little bit of drawing. Doesn't hurt. And if you don't like it, just, you know, tear it up for collage or something, and then do it again and again if necessary. The more times you do it, the more easy it comes, and you're having a lot of fun doing artwork. These trees, since this is a fall time, the trees will have a fair amount of orange and yellow in them rather than green. And don't forget your reflections. I would keep the reflections, like do them down like this, the lines down. It just looks more like water than... Now I wonder if, once you use them up, if you could refill them, since you can take the the nib out. Make your own fluid acrylic and pop it in there. These are the reflections from all the other bulrushes in the background. And they don't have to be intense. We could actually go over that with a brush. Now for some startling contrast. They look like burning bushes. So as you can see, this goes fairly quickly. You know, you don't have to spend a lot of time. Just going to put some in the trees in the background. I'll probably darken those a bit more. Whoa. And I'll probably use a brush on that. This is one of the wider nibs too. Okay. Now our medium is holding up really well, and I have some time to, I'm just going to use the brush on those background trees here. Nice swirly marks for the leaves. You can have so much fun with this. And here, maybe a little more diffuse for the reflections. Draw some lines into that just to indicate that that's water. These bulrushes are lower because they're further away, so a bit of perspective. And just get these right off the top and the side. So let's print this section, see what we come up with. Okay, I just dropped my brush on the ground. That's okay. Ooh. That's starting to look pretty exciting. And the water is starting to read as water, which is good. I'm liking that. So what we need now are browns and our dark trees. So let's see about putting some of that in. Now this one, as you can see, is brand new, hasn't been used, so I'm just going to run it on another sheet of paper until it starts making color. Okay, so we're going to just the bases. Just running a bit of contrast. And see here are little bushy things. I'll probably put some violet in there as well. And don't forget, this is only an exercise for you to learn how to do this. On my own, I would probably take a little more time, think a little bit more about what I'm doing. All right. And again, we'll take a brush to some of those. That's pretty intense. Oh, I've got to pick up my brush. All right, run the reflections, soften them up. Using the side of your brush is helpful. And then these these ones. Medium is holding up really well. That's a really good way to work. All right, so these are the little tufty things. And then there's a bit of shoreline in here. Don't forget, you have to make your shoreline water seeks its own level. It doesn't, unless it's in a creek or something like that. It doesn't run uphill, it stays flat, so do that accordingly. I see too many painters, you know, in a lake having strange curves and all sorts of strange things. Doesn't work. Okay, just adding some background tone here and there. And now we're going to get slightly crazy and add a little bit of violet. Just and maybe in the, if you have a color in one area of the picture, be sure and put it somewhere else as well. That ties everything together. It makes it cohesive. Otherwise you have what I could call a foreign color, and you don't really want that. Don't forget to clean. I'm going to use the blue. And, you know, bulrushes straggle and meander and break, and, you know, let's see that in this kind of composition. We had great fun canoeing across the lake, and they're just enormous. They absolutely dwarf you when you're in a canoe. Right, let's put our trees in. Now maybe we'll do it in black, and it will add a graphic element. So here's our evergreens. They are spruces, so they all look like a group of 7 trees. So the branches don't stick out very wide. Just get a lot of them just coming right off the... They tend to go fairly straight, but maybe we'll give them a few of them a little bit of a lean. And again, I'm going to use a brush to soften them as they're reflecting in the water. And just the very bases are quite dark here. It's mixing with the brown a bit, which is what I want. I don't want the black to be too intense. dark green. And we'll see if that mixes. That way the black isn't so intense and overpowering. I don't want to take a brush to these. You want this to be drawing marks only. A little bit in there. And then I guess a few of the lily pads here. Put them in. It's okay if they have a little bit of black on them. Let's print that and see where we're at. So I've printed that layer and it's looking pretty incredible. Quite intense. I want to take down the water a little bit and maybe a little bit more detail here in the bushes. The cattails are looking good, it's looking watery. Let's tackle the water and let's see what we can do. I have a sort of ivory color, but I think, well, that might help in here. Okay. Again, I haven't used that one yet, so we get it going. Don't forget these colors are very opaque, so they will go right on top of stuff. I don't think it'll mute anything, but it just adds character and interest. Highlight it a little bit. The highlights might have to go on the paper and not paint it on the plate, but we'll see how it goes. I'm just going to print this quick to see how well it shows up. Best to shake it off what you're working on, because it might drip on your artwork, which you don't want. Print that quick. Well, this is all very experimental, and it shows up well there. Not too bad in here either, actually. And I think for some of the highlights on the water, we're probably going to have to use the white. Use the white quite a bit, so best to have 2 or 3 of those on hand. I don't want to make the water chalky either, so this is going to be interesting. Let's print that and see how it shows up. Maybe just a few judicious lines and we're good to go. Okay, that makes it a little bit more diffuse. All right, so then all we need to do is a few white lines. Make sure, clean it off good. A white line just... I'm going to take a brush to that, it's a bit intense. And here where the shoreline is on there. It's okay if you obscure the lines on the gel plate. You just can't obscure it on the printing surface. And we have some green to add here. Okay. I'm just going to take that down. They're certainly fun to work with. You can correct stuff and okay, that's looking not too bad. Let's work with our little trees. I'm actually going to go to the brown. It just sort of gives a feeling of being highlighted a bit because the trees are quite dark. And we did put green on them. And the same in the reflection. As above, so below, and vice versa. So that's layering. Oh yes. Okay, so we have some of the intense darks and just a bit more green, I think. And it goes with the green of the lily pad, so it's all good. You can give them the craziest shapes if you want. That's what makes them interesting. There's just an essence to a print that you just can't get as a painting. I'm not sure I've actually analyzed it yet, but because maybe it's more graphic. I'm not sure. We need maybe a bit of color in there. So you're combining kind of drawing methods with paintings, so that in itself I think is kind of interesting. I'm just going to add a little bit oranges into these very pink trees. And be gentle with your gel plate when you're dabbing like this, because it's pretty hardy, but you know, take extra care. Let's see about it now. And we'll probably just add some of the black back into the trees. You don't want to lose the contrast. Okay, we have a little bit of orange in there now. Okay, so I'm going to add just a little few details here. these willows could take a little bit of contrast, so I'm going to add some blacks in there. Probably have to print them fairly fast. Our medium is more or less dried. And I'm just going to add a little bit of detail. And if worse comes to worse, as far as dryness, we could run a layer of white, and then it will reactivate the paint. But I think that would take it down too far. I'm not sure I want to do that. So we'll see. Nice, I could use a finer black tip, which I'm sure you will do. Really appreciate people letting me know how they're doing, that they've tried it. I've had that happen a few times now, and so much fun to see somebody else's take on this kind of thing. That's what it's all about. Okay, print quick before it dries. Okay, I think we may have to do what I'm going to do though is we're going to try just using the medium, and that will reactivate. I want those blacks in there, and it wasn't picking it up. All right, so we're pretty well done. So let's reactivate our paint. See what happens. And maybe add that open medium as well. I'm picking stuff up on the brayer, so it's going to work, I think. Okay, cross fingers. Let's see if it activates that layer. If not, then I can do it on the plate, because I think we've wet the plate down again, so that will be okay. Ooh, yes, wow. So it softened the lines a bit, which is all to the good. And I think we're done. So thanks for joining me today. This was a lot of fun, a lot of experimentation. I hope you'll try it. You know, pick your subject or use mine. We're going to be posting that bulrush photo at the end. And this worked, putting that last layer on. It's still got to dry, so we'll be letting it dry before we post this thing. And yeah, it's really good. So thanks for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all those wonderful things. And we'll see you another time. Take care. Bye for now.